Have you ever known a word yesterday, but forgotten it today? You hear the word. You understand it. You even think, I know this word. But when you try to speak, nothing comes out. The word is gone. If this happens to you, don't worry. There is a reason. And today, you are going to discover it through a simple story. The Morning Problem. It was Monday morning. Daniel woke up at 7 o'clock. He looked at the clock and quickly got out of bed. "I'm late," he said. He washed his face, changed his clothes, and went into the kitchen. His breakfast was simple: a piece of bread, an egg, and a cup of coffee. While eating, Daniel opened his phone. He wanted to practice English before going to work. Every morning, he learned 5 new English words. That morning, he learned 5 words about work. He read them carefully. He repeated them 3 times. He even wrote them in a small notebook. Meeting, schedule, improve, prepare, decision. Daniel smiled. "Easy," he said. "I will remember these words." He closed his notebook and went to work. But Daniel did not know that his English test was about to begin. Not a school test, a real-life test. At the office, Daniel worked in a small company. He often had meetings with his coworkers. That morning, his manager walked into the room. "Good morning, everyone." "Good morning," Daniel replied. The manager looked at Daniel. "Daniel, can you tell us about your plan for this week?" Daniel took a breath. "Yes, my plan is—" He stopped. He knew the word. He had studied it only 30 minutes earlier. But now he could not remember it. "My plan is—" He looked at the ceiling. His manager waited. Daniel felt nervous. Finally, he said, "My plan is to make everything better." His coworker smiled. Daniel knew the better word. Improve. That was the word. He had written it in his notebook. He had repeated it 3 times. But at that moment, he could not say it. After the meeting, Daniel returned to his desk. He opened his notebook. There it was. Improve. Daniel stared at the word. "You were right here." He laughed quietly. Then he felt frustrated. Why do I always forget words? The same thing happens again. That evening, Daniel went to a small coffee shop near his home. He wanted to relax. He sat near the window and ordered a coffee. The woman behind the counter asked, "Would you like anything to eat?" Daniel looked at the cakes. "Yes, I would like—" He pointed at one cake. He knew the name. He had learned it before. But again, the word disappeared. "Can I have that one?" The woman smiled. "Sure." Daniel sat down with his coffee. He looked outside. People were walking along the street. Cars were passing. The sky was turning orange. Daniel took a slow breath. I know so many English words, he thought. But why can't I use them? At that moment, Someone sat at the table next to him. It was Anna, one of his co-workers. She noticed Daniel's notebook. "Are you studying English?" Daniel smiled. "Yes, but I have a problem." "What problem?" "I forget everything." Anna laughed gently. "Everything?" "Almost everything." She looked at his notebook.
Let me guess. You study many words every day. Yes. You write them down? Yes. You read them again and again? Yes. And then you try to use them? Daniel became quiet. Not really. Anna smiled. That might be the problem.
A different way to learn. Daniel looked confused. "What do you mean?" Anna took a sip of coffee. When you learn a word, you don't just need to know the word. You need to use it. Daniel listened carefully. She continued. Imagine you meet someone for the first time. You hear their name. Maybe you remember it for a few minutes. But if you never see that person again, you may forget their name. Daniel nodded. That's true. But if you meet them every day, you talk to them, you hear their name, you use their name, then you remember it naturally. Daniel looked at his notebook. So English words are like people? Exactly. Daniel smiled. That makes sense. Anna continued. Let's take one word. She pointed at his notebook. Improve. Okay. Don't just say improve, improve, improve. Put it into your life. Daniel thought for a moment. How? Anna asked, What do you want to improve? My English. Good. Say it. Daniel smiled. I want to improve my English. Again. I want to improve my English. Now make it personal. Daniel thought. I want to improve my English because I want to speak with more confidence. Anna smiled. Much better. Daniel repeated it quietly. I want to improve my English because I want to speak with more confidence. This time, the word felt different. It was not just a word in a notebook. It was connected to his life. The next morning, Daniel tried something new. Instead of learning 10 new words, he chose only 3. The first word was prepare. He looked around his room. What can I prepare? He thought. Then he said, I need to prepare my breakfast. He smiled. Then he put on his shoes. I need to prepare for work. He picked up his bag. I prepared everything last night. He was using the word again and again, not because he was trying to memorize it, because he was living it. The second word was decision. At work, his manager asked, Daniel, which design do you prefer? Daniel looked at the 2 designs. I need to make a decision. His manager smiled. Take your time. Daniel looked at both designs again. I think this one is better. Good decision, his manager said. Daniel smiled. There was the word again. Decision. Later that day, he called his friend. His friend asked, "What did you do at work today?" Daniel answered, "I had to make an important decision." The word appeared again. 3 different situations. 1 word. And Daniel began to remember it. The word he could never remember. A few days later, Daniel was walking home after work. He saw a friend across the street. "Daniel!" Daniel turned around. "Hey, Mike." They talked for a few minutes. Mike asked, "How is your English practice going?" Daniel laughed. "Better." "Really?" "Yes. I discovered something." "What?" "I don't need to memorize every word." Mike looked interested. "So what do you do?" "I choose a few words and use them during the day." "That sounds simple." "It is simple." Daniel smiled. "But there is one word I still can't remember." "What word?" Daniel thought. He knew the meaning. He could explain it, but he could not say it. It means when you do something again and again. Mike waited. Daniel continued. When you do it many times, you become better at it. Mike smiled. Practice? Daniel's face suddenly changed. Yes, that's it. He laughed. I knew that word. Mike laughed too. You didn't forget it. What do you mean? You just couldn't find it quickly. Daniel became quiet. That sentence stayed in his mind. Maybe I don't always forget words. Maybe sometimes I just need more time to find them. That was an important moment for Daniel. You may not be forgetting. That night, Daniel sat quietly in his room. He opened his notebook. He looked at all the words he had studied over the past few months. There were hundreds of them. Some words were familiar. Some were difficult. Some words looked completely new. But Daniel realized something. He did not need to remember every word perfectly. Learning a language was not a race. It was a process. Sometimes a word disappears. Sometimes it comes back 5 minutes later. Sometimes it comes back the next day. Sometimes you need to hear it many times before it feels natural. And that is okay. Daniel wrote one sentence in his notebook. I don't need to know everything. I just need to keep using what I know. He read the sentence slowly. Then he closed his notebook. For the first time in a long time, he felt relaxed about English. A small change. The next week, Daniel changed his English routine. He stopped trying to learn 20 words every morning. Instead, he chose 3 useful words. He listened to them. He said them. He wrote simple sentences. And most importantly, he used them during his day. If he learned the word tired, he used it. I'm tired today. I was tired after work. My friend looks tired. If he learned busy, he used it. I'm busy this morning. I was busy yesterday. Tomorrow might be busy. The words became part of his daily life. He also stopped being afraid of mistakes. Sometimes he used the wrong word. Sometimes his sentence was not perfect. Sometimes he forgot completely. But he kept talking. One evening, Daniel met Anna again at the coffee shop. Anna asked, "So, are you still forgetting English words?" Daniel smiled. "Yes." Anna laughed. "Then what changed?" Daniel thought about it. "I don't panic anymore." "That's a big change." "Yes. When I forget a word, I try to explain it another way." Anna nodded. "That is a very useful skill." Daniel smiled. "For example, if I forget the word umbrella, I can say, 'the thing I use when it rains.'" Anna laughed. "Exactly." Daniel continued, "I don't stop speaking just because I forget one word." Anna smiled. "Now you are learning how to communicate." 3 useful expressions. Before we finish Daniel's story, let's review some useful English expressions from his experience. First, I can't remember the word. Use this when you know something but cannot find the word. For example, I can't remember the word for this. Or, I know this word, but I can't remember it right now. This is very natural in conversation. You don't need to feel embarrassed. You can simply say it. Second, give me a moment. This is useful when you need a little time to think. For example, what did you do yesterday? Give me a moment. Then you can think. You don't need to answer immediately. Third, how do you say this in English? This is one of the most useful sentences for English learners. If you forget a word, ask, "How do you say this in English?" The other person can help you, and you can learn the word in a real situation. There is also another useful expression. I mean. For example, I went to the place where you buy medicine. Maybe you forgot the word pharmacy. That's okay. You can explain it. Communication is more important than perfect memory. The real secret. A few months later, Daniel looked back at his old notebook. He smiled. The words that once seemed difficult were now familiar. Not because he had a perfect memory. Not because he studied for 5 hours every day. And not because he never forgot anything. He simply used the words. Again and again and again. He heard them in videos. He saw them in messages. He used them at work. He said them with friends. He connected them to his own life. And slowly, the words became easier to remember. One morning, Daniel was preparing for work. He suddenly remembered the first Monday when he had forgotten the word improve. He smiled. Then he said, "My English has improved." He paused. Then he laughed. "I finally remembered it." A message for you. Maybe you are like Daniel. Maybe you learn a new word today and forget it tomorrow. Maybe you understand English when you listen, but when you speak, the words disappear.
Maybe you sometimes think, my English is not good. Please don't be too hard on yourself. Forgetting is a normal part of learning. You don't need to remember every word after seeing it once. You don't need to speak perfect English. And you don't need to learn hundreds of words every day. Choose a few useful words. Listen to them. Say them. Use them. Connect them to your life. If you learn the word happy, talk about something that makes you happy. If you learn worried, talk about something that worries you. If you learn excited, talk about something you are excited about. Make the word yours. Because when a word becomes connected to your real life, it becomes easier to remember. And if you forget it again, that's okay. Take a breath. Give yourself a moment. Try to explain it. Ask for help. Then keep going. You are not failing. You are learning. And every time you hear a word, every time you use it, every time you remember it a little faster, your English is becoming stronger. So don't worry if some words disappear from your mind. Sometimes they are not really gone. They are simply waiting for you to use them again. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Keep learning. And little by little, the words will come. Not all at once, but naturally. One word at a time. And one day, you may look back and realize you don't remember when English became easier. It just did. Keep going. You are closer than you think.